Like everything else, weapons have changed and progressed throughout history. The first forms of weapons believed to have been used by man for hunting or self-defense were unshaped stones and wooden spears. With the advent of gunpowder comes the true evolution of weapons. The first firearms were called muskets. Gunpowder made it possible to launch missiles at higher speeds and at greater distances, which was a real revolution in the field of warfare and hunting. Intelligence and consciousness have enabled man to make constant progress in the making of weapons, following all the revolutionary scientific and technological discoveries through the centuries. Weapons have become more accurate, more dangerous, deadly, with greater firepower. Not only human skill, but also science is increasingly used in the production of weapons and ammunition, and weapons are constructed according to the latest technical and technological knowledge. Here are some of the deadly weapons ever created by man. But before we jump into number 1, be sure that you have subscribed and hit the bell icon to keep yourself informed with amazing videos. With that said, let's jump into our incredible list. 15. Katyusha Rocket Launcher. Katyusha Rocket Launcher was the first type of multiple rocket artillery to be built. The multiple rocket launchers deliver explosives to a target area more quickly than conventional artillery, but with lower accuracy and requiring a longer time to reload. They are fragile compared to artillery guns, but are inexpensive, easy to produce, and usable on any chassis. Built by the Soviet Union in the Second World War, the Katyusha rocket launcher was a type of rocket artillery with multiple rocket launchers attached to the back of a vehicle to provide it with mobility. They were used throughout the war and were famous for their powerful punch. They were available for a fraction of the price of the artillery gun and could bring down enemy troops in a matter of seconds. The sound of the launcher also caused psychological terror and was named Stalin's organ. It had a 5 kg high explosive warhead and was attached on the vehicle designated as the BM-13. The rockets had a range of 8.5 kilometers, and the explosive fragmentation radius upon impact was over 10 meters. The launchers were less accurate than artillery guns, but were effective in saturation bombardment, which was most feared by the German troops. Over 10,000 Katyusha launchers were produced by the end of the war, along with 12 million rockets. 14. RPG. A rocket-propelled grenade is a shoulder-fired missile weapon that launches rockets equipped with an explosive warhead. Most RPGs can be carried by an individual soldier and are frequently used as anti-tank weapons. With its ease of use, cheap construction and low cost of launchers, and high efficiency, it has entered the arsenal of almost every country around the world. It is used against armored and fortified targets as well as against infantry formations. It was used in many conflicts and wars in the second half of the 20th century and has been constantly improved. 13. Flamethrower. A flamethrower is classed as an incendiary device, which is specifically designed to project fire in a stream that is long and controllable. Flamethrowers were used first by ancient Greeks as far back as the 1st century AD. In more modern times, flamethrowers were utilized throughout the First World War by the Germans and more commonly used in the Second World War. Not all flamethrowers are the same. Some are designed to project a stream of fire that is caused by flammable liquid that has been ignited. Others are designed to project a long flame of gas. Liquids are the most common type used in military flamethrowers. Commercial devices opt to use propane and natural gases, high-pressure ones, as they are generally considered safer to use. Military uses for flamethrowers were mainly centered around attacking fortifications and bunkers. Civilians' use for flamethrowers tend to be more agricultural in nature, for clearing fields. Flamethrowers come in many forms. Portable ones tend to be two-part devices, a backpack for the fuel and a tube for the output. They can also be vehicle-mounted for easy use. Simple to operate and maintain, you certainly do not want to be on the receiving end of them. The Anai missile. The Anai missile is a family of medium to intercontinental range ballistic missiles developed by India, named after one of the 5 elements of nature, fire. Anai missiles are long-range, nuclear weapons capable surface-to-surface ballistic missile. With constant improvements of the weapon to an I-6, it will be capable of being launched from submarines as well as from land and will have a strike range of 8,000 to 10,000 kilometers with MIRVed warheads. 11. Schwerer Gustav. Schwerer Gustav was the name given to a German 80 cm railway gun, a huge piece of artillery designed to be shot from a railway wagon. It was developed in the late 1930s by Krupp of Essen as artillery for the explicit purpose of destroying the main forts of the French Maginot Line during a siege. At the time, these were the strongest fortifications in existence. Gustav could fire shells weighing 7 tons to a distance 47 kilometers. When fully assembled, the Schwerer Gustav weighed nearly 1,350 tons. The Germans designed this piece of artillery to prepare for the Battle of France. The biggest gun of World War II was not ready to do battle when the battle began. But it didn't really matter because the Wehrmacht's blitzkrieg aggression through Belgium rapidly outflanked and isolated the Maginot Line's static defenses, forcing them to surrender without any major losses and making the destruction of the fortifications unwarranted. Schwerer Gustav was deployed later during the war to the Soviet Union. During the artillery bombardment of Sevastopol, which was part of Operation Barbarossa, among other things, the large gun destroyed an ammunition warehouse buried in layers of rock under a bay. Leningrad was the next stop for the 80 cm gun and probably was planned to be used in the Warsaw Uprising like other German heavy artillery weapons, but the rebellion was crushed before the heavy artillery was needed. The Germans demolished Schwerer Gustav in 1945, near the very end of World War II, so it wouldn't be confiscated by the Soviet army. It was the largest caliber artillery weapon ever used in combat, the heaviest mobile artillery weapon ever built, considering the total weight, and fired the heaviest shells of any artillery gun. 10. MIRV. A multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicle is an exo-atmospheric ballistic missile payload containing several warheads, each capable of being aimed to hit a different target. The concept is almost invariably associated with intercontinental ballistic missiles carrying thermonuclear warheads, even if not strictly being limited to them. A unitary warhead is a single warhead on a single missile. An intermediate case is the multiple re-entry vehicle missile, which carries several warheads which are dispersed but not individually aimed. Each warhead has the capability of being aimed to hit one of many targets. The old-fashioned warheads could only transport a single nuclear bomb on a single missile and aim for a single target. The next step was the multiple re-entry vehicle missile that could carry numerous warheads that were all dispersed but not individually aimed, which result in a blast similar to a shotgun. Only China, Russia, United Kingdom, United States and France are currently confirmed to possess functional MIRV missile systems. Israel is suspected to be developing or possessing MIRVs. Chimera virus. Chemical weapon. In ancient mythology, a chimera is an animal formed from parts of different animals, like a hippogriff or a griffin, which describes the virus. A chimera virus is defined by the Center for Veterinary Biologics as a new hybrid microorganism created by joining nucleic acid fragments from 2 or more different microorganisms, in which each of at least 2 of the fragments contain essential genes necessary for replication. Combining 2 pathogenic viruses increases the lethality of the new virus, which is why there have been cases when chimeric viruses have been considered for use as a bioweapon. For example, the Soviet Union's Chimera project attempted to combine DNA from Venezuelan equine encephalitis, smallpox and Ebola virus in the late 1980s. The Trident 2D5 SLBM. The Trident missile is a submarine-launched ballistic missile. Originally developed by Lockheed Missiles and Space Corporation, the missile is armed with thermonuclear warheads and is launched from nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarines. Trident missiles are carried by 14 United States Navy Ohio-class submarines with American warheads, as well as 4 Royal Navy Vanguard-class submarines with British warheads. The missile is named after the mythological Trident of Neptune. They are capable of moving a range of up to 12,000 kilometers. The Trident II is considered to be a durable sea-based system capable of engaging many targets. It enhances the U.S. position in strategic arms negotiation with performance and payload flexibility that can accommodate active treaty initiatives. The Trident II's increased payload allows nuclear deterrence to be accomplished with fewer submarines, and its high accuracy, approaching that of land-based missiles, enables it to be used as a first strike weapon. 7. ICBM. Intercontinental Ballistic Missile, ICBM. is a missile with a minimum range of 5,500 kilometers, primarily designed for nuclear weapons delivery. It is guided to the target. ICBMs have the capability of being launched from airplanes, submarines, missile silos, and vehicles. They became an integral part of the MAD doctrine because these weapons allowed the flexibility that enabled the country to strike back and destroy the enemy. It basically guaranteed a second strike on the enemy. Most modern designs support multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicles, MIRVs, allowing a single missile to carry several warheads, each of which can strike a different target. Russia, United States, China, France, India, United Kingdom, and North Korea are the only countries that have operational ICBMs. MOB. Mother of all bombs. The GBU-43B massive ordnance air blast, commonly known as mother of all bombs, is a large-yield bomb, which at the time of development was said to be the most powerful non-nuclear weapon in the American arsenal. It was developed by Albert L. Weimertz. The mother of all bombs, an explosive toy, was weighing over 9 tons, intended for the destruction of underground bunkers and installations. It was made for the fight against terrorists and their underground training centers in the mountains of Afghanistan. In the Pentagon's arsenal, it was the most powerful conventional bomb that works on the principle of vacuum so that the explosive charge simply sucks in oxygen, ignites the cloud and acts on all objects on the ground and underground with a shock wave and high temperatures. The bomb is designed to be delivered by a C-130 Hercules, primarily the MC-130E Combat Talon I or MC-130H Combat Talon II variants. Its blast can destroy 9 city blocks with a radius of 138 meters. The MOB was first dropped in combat in the 13 April 2017 airstrike against an Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant, Khorasan province tunnel complex in Achin district, Afghanistan against ISIS. 5. PHOB. Father of all bombs. Aviation thermobaric bomb of increased power, nicknamed father of all bombs, PHOB, is a Russian-designed, bomber-delivered thermobaric weapon. It weighs 7,100 kilograms and was dropped on the test range by the Tu-160 strategic bomber. General Alexander Rukshin, Deputy Chief of Staff of the Russian Armed Forces, told that it is the strongest vacuum bomb in the world and that the results of tests of that weapon show that its efficiency and strength correspond to nuclear weapons, but that the use of these weapons does not pollute the environment. Thermobaric weapons are inhumane in the context of the fact that all those who would be in the zone of action of such a bomb would first suffocate due to lack of oxygen, and then they would be crushed by the shock wave and burned at high temperatures. According to the assessment of the American edition of National Interest, the Russian bomb has a smaller mass, but it is still 4 times more powerful than the American MOB. For example, the power of the explosion of the Russian PHOB is equal to the explosion of 40 tons of TNT, while the power of the American MOB is equal to the explosion of 10 tons of TNT. The Russian bomb has a radius of action 20 times larger than the American one. 4. B-53 nuclear bomb. The MK-B-53 was a high-yield bunker-buster thermonuclear weapon developed by the United States during the Cold War with a yield of 9 megatons, which results in a fireball with an approximate 2.9 to 3.4 miles diameter, and the radiated heat causes lethal burns to any unprotected person within a 20-mile radius. It was the most powerful weapon in the U.S. nuclear arsenal. This weapon is no longer used actively. Manufacturer of this bomb was the United States Atomic Energy Commission, commonly known as the EAC. That was an agency of the United States government established after World War II by U.S. Congress to foster and control the peacetime development of atomic science and technology. 3. Little Boy and Fat Man. Little Boy was the code name for an atomic bomb dropped on the Japanese city of Hiroshima on August 6, 1945 from an Enola Gay plane, B-29 Super Fortress. The plane was flown by Colonel Paul Tibbets of the 393rd Bomber Squadron of the United States Air Force. It was the first atomic bomb used as a weapon. It was dropped 3 days before the second bomb was dropped on Nagasaki. This bomb was developed as part of the Manhattan Project during World War II. Its explosive power comes from the nuclear fission of uranium-235. The bombing of Hiroshima was the second artificially induced nuclear explosion in history, as well as the first uranium-based detonation. Approximately 600 milligrams of mass is converted into energy. The bomb exploded at an altitude of about 600 meters and developed a destructive force equivalent to between 13 and 18 kilotons of TNT and killed approximately 220,000 people. Its design has not been previously tested due to the fact that enriched uranium was very rare at that time, so the United States saved it. On the other hand, Fat Man is the code name for an atomic bomb that detonated over Nagasaki, Japan, on August 9, 1945. The bomb was dropped by the United States. It was an implosion-type bomb with a plutonium center. Fat Man's design was similar to the design of the first atomic bomb device detonated during the Trinity atomic test. It was detonated at an altitude of approximately 550 meters above the city and was ejected from a B-29 bomber by a super fort. It was piloted by Major Charles Sweeney of the 393rd Bomber Squadron. The bomb had a power of approximately 21 kilotons of TNT. Since Nagasaki is on a hilly terrain, the damage from the explosion was somewhat less than in relatively flat Hiroshima. It is estimated that 39,000 people were killed and 25,000 injured in the bombing of Nagasaki. Thousands more later died from injuries caused by the explosion and burns, and hundreds more from radiation poisoning from exposure to the bomb's initial radiation. 2. Castle Bravo. Castle Bravo was an operation during which the US tested a thermonuclear hydrogen bomb for the first time. The test was performed on March 1, 1954 at Bikini Atoll in the Marshall Islands. The direct result of the explosion was nuclear rain, which poisoned the islanders who returned to the island after the detonation. Members of the crew of the Japanese fishing boat Lucky Dragon No. were also poisoned, which raised the international question of the safety of conducting nuclear tests. The bomb used lithium deuterium fuel for the nuclear reaction as well as cryogenic deuterium tritium liquid, which was used as the fuel for the nuclear reaction. The Ivy Mike bomb, which was the 16th nuclear bomb, represented the first test of the hydrogen bomb of the U.S. Armed Forces. Castle Bravo had the best result of all U.S. Army nuclear testing, 15 MT, although again a significant proportion came from uranium fission. In the Teller-Ulam model, the fission and fusion phases occur physically separately. Castle Bravo was the most powerful American nuclear bomb ever detonated by the United States. With a power of 15 megatons, it greatly exceeded the projected power of 4 to 6 megatons. Combined with other factors, it was the most signified radiological device in U.S. history. Measured in kilotons, Castle Bravo was 1,200 times more powerful than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki during World War II. 1. Tsar Bomb. Tsar Bomb is a nickname for the RDS-220 hydrogen bomb. It is the most powerful nuclear weapon ever detonated. Made by the USSR, the bomb was initially supposed to have a power of 100 megatons of TNT, but due to the excessive risk of radiation and the spread of reactive particles through the atmosphere, the power was halved. 2 bombs were built, one real and one copy. The bomb was tested on October 30, 1961 at exactly 11:32 local time in the Nova Zemlja archipelago. The bomb weighed 27 tons, was 8 meters long, and had a circumference of 2 meters. It was so big that it could not fit in the largest bomber of that time, which is why certain changes were made to the bomber. The bomb was dropped from a height of about 10.5 kilometers and detonated 4 kilometers above the ground. The fireball that formed at that time was 8 kilometers wide, and the mushroom formed after the explosion was 65 kilometers high and about 40 kilometers wide at the bottom. The area with a diameter of 35 kilometers around the bomb was completely destroyed. It never entered military service and was only a demonstration of Soviet power and technology at the time. 0. The Tactical High-Power Operational Responder. 4. Is a high-energy microwave laser-directed energy weapon by the United States Air Force Research Laboratory. The weapon uses a powerful microwave burst to produce an unspecified counter-electronic effect with the intention of disabling unmanned aircraft. The Thor project is led by the Air Force Strategic Development Planning and Experimentation Office. The weapon is considered inventory of the United States Air Force high-energy laser weapon systems. In December of 2020, it was reported that the weapon was deployed in Africa for testing. The laser is claimed to be 1 million times more powerful than any other in the world. It can vaporize drones, stop missiles or disrupt electronic systems. While the first prototype and field testing are scheduled for 2024, it is expected to be deployed to protect military bases in 2026, according to the reports. Army Lieutenant Gen. L. Neil Thurgood said in a statement that high-energy lasers kill one target at a time, and high-powered microwaves can kill groups or swarms, which is why we are pursuing a combination of both technologies.